penultimate round of the Group 7 competition. Finals on the line for Kiama and the Nowra Bomaderry Jets, and we're at the beautiful Kiama Showground today. Courtney Ward alongside Corey Hammond. Courtney, plenty at stake here for both sides. The winner books a spot in the finals.
Absolutely, and pretty much moves into fourth position on the ladder. It's obviously a massive game, especially for the Jets, because obviously they've got Gerringong next week as well. Kiama is Berry next week. But yeah, huge game. Book your finals spot, and you don't have to worry on results for next week.
Shell Harbour Sharks defeating Gerringong 30-12 yesterday. A crucial result in the context of this game, because that means third spot is still alive for the winner of today's game. I'm sure that's on their mind as well.
Oh, absolutely. You get double by the cherry. You're not playing that elimination final week one. You get a you can afford to lose one game in the final instead of all on the line in that first week.
Let's run through the sides. Kiama first at the back. Tom Atkins on the wings. Matt Morris and Brad Kilmore. Jay Delaney and Ethan Ford in the centres. Dylan Morris and Cameron Vazzola are the halves pairing. In the front row, it's Luke Chalker and Tyler Clark. Daniel Martin is the hooker. In the back row, Toby Nobes, Tom Angel, Kieran Poole is the lock forward. On the bench, Cal Thistlethwaite, Tom Dowd, Tasman Gilmore and Matt Gladman. And we'll get you, Courtney, to run through the Nowra side.
On number order, we've got Nathan Deeves at the 1, Nath Thousands at 2, Joshy Calder and Ryan James at the centres in 3 and 4. Blake Harris Davis is the other winger. Dwayne Buster Connors is the 6. PJ Adler's in the 7 jersey. You've got Matt Rudy Rowans in the 15. Kirk Quinlan's the 9. Zach Kershaw's 10. Then you've got Ben Wellington, Dill Farrell and Josh Power Farrell at 11, 12 and 13 respectively. You've got Austin Thompson's in the 14. The 16's Elliot Stewart. Danny Deeves returning from a groin injury is in the 17. And Reece Fagelin is in the 19 jumper today. But it'll be interesting to see how the Jets line up, because we always talk about that you don't know who's going to line up at the back, but you probably imagine that PJ's going to play at the back after last week's barnstorming performance against Rilla.
Geez, he was impressive, and Buster Collins in the 6 jersey, he really helped out Dylan Farrell last week. We both thought that Buster was best on ground. He's going to need to step up again today. You look at this Kiama side, very impressive across the board. You look at the halves, Morris and Vazzola, I think they're the key. 21 tries between them, but then they've got plenty of strike out wide. We talk about Ryan James, Blake Harris Davis, that side of the field for the Jets. 17 tries between them, but you have a look at Matt Morris and Jay Delaney, 7 tries apiece, 14 tries. So that's going to be a really crucial battle out wide as well.
Oh, absolutely. I think, yeah, you look at those centre pairings, obviously Joshy Calder and Ryan James coming up against Jay Delaney and Ethan Ford. It's going to be really interesting, Ethan Ford matching up on either of those two. That's a great matchup. Obviously, Ryan James had a great matchup last week against Rilla last week against... So, yeah, I really think the key for Kiama is Cam Vazzola. He's the heartbeat of the side, and he leads them, puts them in great field position with his kicking game, and he's arguably nearly the best half in the game. So I think he's going to have a fantastic impact on this game one way or another.
So Kiama will kick off in this first half. They'll run to the northern end of the Kiama Showground. It's been almost cyclonic weather over the past 48 hours, but it's remarkably still here right on the ocean. But I'm sure the kicking game will be the utmost importance. Will Drury is the man with the whistle in the middle, and we are just about ready for this penultimate round clash. Underway, finals at stake here. Kiama and Nowra. The kickoff goes to the northwestern corner there for Fowson to bring it back, and he'll be tackled 19 metres out. Clark in there helping out with that one. And now they go to the short side, and the Jets, they're so dangerous on the fringes, they'll be looking to expose any defenders napping this afternoon.
Looking at the Jets lineup, obviously Tyson Simpson is away this weekend. Do you think the right edge will probably...
Rowan's lost it. Matt Rowan has lost it. An early error from the Jets. They need to be disciplined today. They need to make sure they hang on to the ball and don't give away penalties. That is a horror start.
Terrible start. And obviously, do you think they'll miss Tyson Simpson on the right edge here, the Jets?
Yeah, he does give them plenty of gusto, plenty of punch. So they are going to miss that today.
But terrible start here for the Jets. Obviously, when I spoke to Dill Farrell last week, obviously ball handling from both sides was pretty atrocious by both the Jets and Marilla last week. So not a great start in first chance for points for the Knights.
And Morris taking it to the line with some conviction there and passing it on the outside to Ethan Ford, who's flirting with that western touchline. He's only 15 metres out as they go back towards the middle there, and it's Chalker with it, who's 8 metres out and finally goes and submits to the tackle. The Kiama side with first chance to really mount some pressure. Vizzola takes it to the line. Atkins offloads it. Short ball there, and they're asking questions early. That's Toby Nobes driven backwards by the Jets' defence.
That looked a little bit forward from our end, or very flat from Vizzola there, and Tommy Atkins, but they're still on the attack here.
And it's young Tyler Clark, the Milton Ulladulla product, looking for some game time in first grade. He's up at Kiama and in the starting side as they shift it to the left and they give it to big, I think it's out there in the 12 jersey, Angel, who can sniff out a try, and he's found the try line early. It's only taken them a minute and Kiama lead.
He'll love that. I actually saw him before the game. I go, you're going to get a meat try for me today, Tommy? He goes, I'll try my best. And he scores one within the first minute. So he's a massive handful on that left edge for Kiama, and one of the best back rows in the common. Well-deserved try. And, yeah, great start for Kiama, considering that they didn't score a point in the earlier round, these two played. They lost 26-0 to the Jets. So perfect start for Matt Clark's men. Certainly
is a big confidence boost. Jets have certainly got a good record, as you mentioned there, Courtney Ward, against the Knights. They're almost a bunny side, you'd have to say, so that is an early confidence boost. Tom Angel, 12th try of the season, and that included a 4-try haul in that carve-up against the Stingrays just a couple of weeks ago.
The massacre. But, yeah, obviously a great start for the Knights, but they won't be resting on their laurels. Obviously, the corresponding fixture last year, they actually led 28-4 and got chased down to lose 30-28 against the Jets. As we know, the Jets can get hot in a hurry, and they can score points probably quicker than any other team in the competition. So, yeah, the Kiama won't want to take the foot off the throat here.
Vizzola lining this one up. He's 20 metres back, about 5 metres in from the western touchline. The strike's good, looking for some fade. It fades beautifully, straight over the black dot, and it's 6-0 in favour of the home side in front of what is a good crowd here this afternoon. We saw the old boys run about just before kickoff.
Yeah, the Rusty Knights are running about, and there's some guys who I actually saw. Cam Whitaker out there, he retired last year. I don't know how he qualifies as a Rusty Knight, but he was out there, and some guys obviously from it's obviously the old boys' day, and you've got they're celebrating some premierships from way back when. But yeah, well done to all the Knights who have come out. It's a decent crowd here, but lucky for Vizzola that we don't have the win from yesterday. It'd be hell kicking goals in yesterday's condition, wouldn't it?
Error off the kickoff. So the Jets we saw in their first set make an error. Kiama in their first get-out set have spilt the lollies off the kickoff.
That was Dill Morris, I think. He's just dropped it cold. And, yeah, geez, that's a killer, isn't it? Isn't the coach's main message? You've got to complete your first set of 6 after points. And unfortunately for Matt Clark, they've dropped it on the first ball. And now the Jets get a chance to level up straight away.
That they do as Dylan Farrell awaits the ball, standing at first receiver. He goes out wide there to Adler, who's drifting towards the touchline, and Ford wraps him up ball and all, and the defence, the cavalry, comes in and helps him. So Adler to play it only a metre out. James goes to acting half, standing there. In fact, second receiver was Adler, so Quinlan waits there, and he's got a big line-up out to the left, and that's the way they go with Farrell. Farrell's flat, but he goes to Collins, and Collins out wide there, and now it's Coulter looking to try and step and weave his way through. And it's going to be a Kiama ball because the ball's gone into touch there, and I think, what was I saying? Collins. I was saying Collins. I beg your pardon. So you pulled me up on that. I beg your pardon to Big Buster, who who had a fantastic game last week, and you judged him best on ground.
Oh, we both did. I thought it was probably the best game we've probably seen him play this year, to be fair. Like, obviously, we've been saying how much the Jets rely on Dylan Farrell, but if someone like your Josh Coulter, your Buster Connors, can step up and alleviate some of those playmaking duties off him, they will... they're a much better side. Because they're obviously not so one out, and here go the Knights.
So the ball spits out, and they go to the left, and looking to try and get out of the red zone error-free after what's been a fairly tumultuous start from both sides, coughing up the football in their own red zone as Big Luke Chalker now with the football, the former Collegians, front row forward in Kiama colours this year. He's used to the red and black, and he's going to be a big linchpin up forward for the Knights heading into the last round and certainly into finals if Kiama make it. Now they go up towards halfway, and it's Poole offloading at the line to Clark. Another one of these youngsters that is so impressive. He gets over halfway as Kiama makes good ground on this set. And it's short side to Vizzola, who Looks to try and get it over the winger, but he couldn't have picked out Harris Davis better if he tried.
Geez, Adler came back with some pace there, but they sniffed that out pretty quickly, the nice defence.
So they'll start the set in very good field position with Ryan James, and James pumping the legs. He's so strong and so elusive. He was very good against Warilla last week. Found the try line, and he'll be looking to do the same again here today. Rowan, who came up with that early error, looking to atone. He plays it a metre short of halfway as they go to Kershaw. Another one of these bullocking front rowers that has been impressive in recent weeks. They're 41 away from the Kiama line. Farrell throws the dummy. He fends off. He passes to James. And James, he puts on the brakes, and he'll take the tackle 23 metres out. This will be the fifth and last. Farrell are waiting for the ball. He goes for the kick. He looks to chip over the top, and he's found some space as well. Oh, confusion. Morris couldn't get there, but his teammate does, and Morris backing up. He throws it out the back. Oh, they somehow get out of that, and copping one across the chops was Morris. It was a high tackle over the shoulder. They get out of that, and only just.
Oh, how did they manage that? It looked like Matty Morris tried to offload it, and the guy didn't see it, and somehow they've picked it up and got a penalty out of it, but I think you'll look at the Kiama lineup. I think you'll find Tommy Atkins is actually playing the 6 right now, and Dill Morris is actually playing at the 1. They'll chop and change a fair bit during the game, but yeah, Tommy Atkins is lining up at the obviously 5/8, and Dill Morris has had a bit of time at fullbacks. But yeah, you watch those two. Probably realistically, there's not much between 1 and 6 in today's footy anyway. So yeah, watch for those two to sort of chop and change and have a bit of a rest at 1 and 6.
So Clark to play it on halfway. The Knights, with the piggyback from that penalty, go to the left where they've had some success this afternoon. And Poole will play it. And the try scorer was on his outside there, Angel. But they shift back to the open. And now it's Vizzola straightening things up, throwing the dummy and almost getting through. Cameron Vizzola. So now they go back to the left with Morris at first receiver, and now it's the try scorer, Angel. He fends away from one, skipping, dancing, trying to get through, and Farrell comes in. No, in fact, I think it might have been Connors who came in and made the tackle midfield. It was Adler, in fact. Vizzola now, cut out pass, looking to shift out to the there, and I think it might be a try to Delaney. Jay Delaney will score, and Kiama have got their second.
That was a little bit too easy. It was a bit of a floated pass. You didn't think anything was going to happen, but Jay Delaney's just skinned the defenders and stepped 1, 2, and there's the Knights' second for the afternoon, and great start for the hosts.
Really is, and you have to ask questions of both the left and right edge defenders for the Jets. Left wanting it was Angel on the left to start, and then we saw Delaney just ghost through, as you said. He had no right to score that try, even though there was an overlap initially. He danced back in, and it was pure strength from Delaney, and Delaney scores his 8th try. We talk about that edge and how many tries they have scored out there.
Well, they're just, they're potent. I mean, realistically, all the outside backs of both sides are super potent. Jay Delaney just used his pace. Like, there's not many quicker than him, probably the two Morris boys, and that's probably about it. He used his pace, and yeah, all the fans here for the 50th anniversary for the Knights were well and truly happy with that try, and it looks like they're going to have a chance to go up 12-0 after 9 minutes if Vizzola can land this conversion on the eastern touchline.
He's about 5 metres in. Pretty much the exact opposite to where he nailed the touchline conversion on the western side of the field to make it 6-0. And with 9 minutes gone, they're at better than a point a minute as Vizzola moves in, and it's another good strike. It's straight over the black dot. 12-0. The home side turning it on an old boys' day. And I noticed that you mentioned the Morris brothers. Well, Steve Slippery Morris, have you seen him in the crowd?
He'd be around here. He usually parks himself on the eastern touchline. I was a bit surprised he actually didn't line up in the Rusty Knights game. He's usually thereabouts in that, but unfortunately I don't think he lined up this year. If you're Dill Farrell there in the huddle on the try line, what are you saying to the troops? You're down by 12 after 10 minutes. Not the ideal start at all.
I think the communication's got to be better, certainly on the edges. I think there's a real breakdown there, and they've been able to, I guess, come up and really test those Jets' edges, and they haven't responded in defence. So
no, and realistically, both the tries have been pretty soft. Like, they're just sort of just broken through the line. Like, it wasn't too much flashy play. It's just Tommy Angel and Jay Delaney using more class and speed. Comes
down to line speed as the Knights now with the football as they look to get out of their own zone error free, and that's Clark running onto the football. He had a good wind-up, and he loses the ball out the back, and it's going to be a penalty. It had some help. It was a strip.
That's another piggyback, and we talk about the ill discipline for the Jets and obviously poor ball handling. this is an issue that's happened all year, and Dill Farrell's trying to address it, and that kick hasn't made much distance at all, but the Knights get another chance to add points.
12-0. A statement of intent by Kiama. They have been one of the form sides of the competition. Their last 3 rounds, defeating Gerringong in that big match over at McCronan Oval, and then getting a win over Park, and then that thumping against the Stingrays as Dill Morris looks to dance his way through the defence. He's brought down 32 metres out from the Jets line as they go right. Vizola turning it on the inside to Clark again, and it might have been Chalker, in fact, this time. He plays at centre field, 20 metres out. The Knights looking dangerous again. Vizola stepping off the right and bouncing away from defenders. He makes 15. They're only 5 metres away, the Knights, looking to make it 16-0. What a start by the home side. And Paul shows it. Steps on the inside, and Paul will score the Kiama Knights' 3rd of the afternoon.
And then that was nearly too easy again. You talk about line speed. Kieran Poole just sort of cruised in and sort of just stepped through the line and scored. The Jets are going to, they're sort of like, look at them. Look at off their feet already, and it's only been, 12 minutes of action.
Wakey, the Jets still in the change rooms.
Yeah, slow start, and the Knights are really, you talk about the Knights are in form, they won the last 3, but the Jets have won 5 of the last 6. They're one of the form teams in the competition, had some big victories there. Obviously beat Shell Harbour at Shell Harbour, beat Rarilla last week. But they have not come to play so far, have they?
They certainly haven't. And this is danger signs for the Jets. We know how quickly they can put on points, but they don't want to be playing catch-up. But it's too late for that. They are playing catch-up. And 16-0 after 12. Vizola should throw this over.
Absolutely. He's made the other 2. You think it'll be 18-0 after 13 minutes. Couldn't have been a worse start for the Jets. What else is Dill saying down there? Obviously line speed. Communication.
And like you said, hit and stick, one-on-one tackles. They have to not only wrap up the football, but they have to just hit and stick and at least make them really play the ball, because at the moment they're getting into the 20 and they're just falling off tackles, and it's straight over the try line. So anyway, Vizola now lining this one up. 13 minutes gone, more than a point a minute, and this man has plenty of points this season. Having a look at his personal tally, he came in with 137 points, and he's now made it 143 with his 6th point of the afternoon. 18-0, the Knights lead on Old Boys Day. Courtney Ward, how did the Jets turn it around?
Well, you talk about hit and sticking. They're probably biggest side, apart from obviously Chalker and obviously Clark for Kiama. You think Dill Farrell's bigger there, obviously Sticks is big. You talk about Zach Kershaw. They've got some big bodies out there. Use their size and make contact, because it's just too easy at the moment, isn't it?
And the old wobbly top goes down to Atkins, and this time they safely catch that football. And now the Jets deciding to muscle up. Hello, we've had 14 minutes, but that's much better signs from Nowra. So now Vizola to Clark. And they wrap him up. Kershaw in the tackle as well as Adler. In fact, it was Deeves, I think, who was on top, finishing it off. And now the Knights marching forward again. They're 12 short of halfway. 18-0. Who would have thought it would be the scoreline this early in the game, as Vizola drills it straight down the middle, and it's a room service bounce back there, and Adler runs straight and hard. No thoughts of a sidestep there.
No, that sort of set up for him perfectly, and that's great for him. If he can get on the fly and put him on the front foot early, great field position for the Jets here. 2nd tackle by Ryan James, and they're nearly at halfway. So if they can get through this set, put some pressure on the Knights here.
Now Falzon bumping away.
Oh.
And he gets the offload away as well. So this is what they're good at, throwing the dummy is Quinlan. Quinlan, he had the hands free, and he had lurking there was the captain, Dill Farrell. Now Farrell goes himself from dummy half, throwing dummies galore. A player going through Aaron Connors, and he decided to give himself up there, and he'll take the tackle.
He nearly should have given that there. Connors was straight through.
Now Connors, he'll get a chance to go straight through. He's only 9 metres away after the post-contact metres. That was good work by Connors. 5th and last here as they go to the open side. And now Farrell looking for a repeat, or even better. But it's a horrible kick. It's got too much weight on it.
He knew straight away. You could hear him yell out he put way too much pepper on that, and let him off the hook. Now the Knights get 7 tackles to work out of their own end.
That's the worst result you could have asked for if you're a Jets fan.
That was their best chance to attack in the afternoon through the first 16 minutes, and now Jay Delaney's bringing it out, 35 from his own end.
And that's only tackle one, mind you. So the Knights, they've got plenty up the sleeve as now Morris throws the cutout ball and Ford fending away from one and getting over halfway and getting an offload back to Morris as they reset again. Pull goes to Clark and this tall, rangy front rower will play it 40 metres out from the Jets line. Looking for try number 4, would you believe, as Chalker hits it straight up and he'll make an extra 10 metres. The Knights looking very ominous and the show and go, and it's going to be a short ball there to Pull, and Pull's brought down in the danger zone. Oh, it's Martin now going to Vizzola. Vizzola going straight. He's got the ball in his grasp. An offload out there. Ford looped over the top. Play on try. Another one for the Knights. That's number 4. And it's Brad Kilmore going over in the northwestern corner. Oh, this is looking very ominous.
It's, the Jets are still asleep. They're going to have to wake up soon, but yeah, great second phase play by the Knights there. Obviously, Canvasola spotted a gap, closed pretty quick. It gave the offload. Dan Martin with a great floating pass, and Ethan Ford drew the attackers and sent Kilmore over to score in the corner. And Vasola's going to have for his 4th kick of the afternoon, this will be his toughest. But yeah, they're going at a point a minute here, aren't they?
Incredible. They really are.
If you'd have told me this before the game, that they'd have 4 tries in the first 20 minutes, I wouldn't have believed you.
Well, I tell you what, and we talk about both sides really hitting some form at the right time of the season, but I think Kiama and the Sharks, for mine, are the 2 teams that seem to me to be hitting their straps best at this time of year. We saw the Sharks. I know that probably a lot of people say, going back to back, it's going to be tough. They've lost some of the cattle that they had that won it last year, but I think they showed yesterday, albeit against a weakened Gerringong side. I think the Sharks and Kiama will be there when the whips are cracking.
Do you think, and I obviously completely agree, both teams obviously won the grand final last year, do you think the loss of Matt Carroll will have a big impact on the Sharks? Because I think it will.
Absolutely, and I think we'll see in the big games whether or how big an impact that has. But they're certainly making all the right moves as they vie for a top 3 spot. Well, they've basically locked that down.
They've locked in a minor premiership now. I think Jamboroo's got to beat the Stingrays in the last round by a lot. Like more
Which
than
could happen.
It could happen, but yeah, they're going to have to need, because obviously the Sharks have got the, and Vizzola goes for the kick, and
this time it's in. Oh, well,
brilliant.
I thought it was going to fade too much, but it just sat down perfectly. Cameron Vizzola with the ball on the string, and the Knights 24-0 to the good after 18 minutes.
You wouldn't read about it, but yes, going back to the Sharks, I think, yeah, they'll be thereabouts, and I think they're...
You're not convinced, though, and
no.
Look, I totally understand, and I think this is the beauty of this top 5 that we're going to have. We don't even know what the top 5 will be. No. It's that close between 6 sides, so... That kick-off now going deep, and the Knights can start again, but it's an interesting conversation, is it? I think there's any side that can win it on their day.
We haven't even mentioned Jamboree.
I know. Unbelievable, isn't it? And they obviously bounce back after that shock loss, or they'll be looking to anyway. So we focus on the action here, though, at the Kiama Showground, and it's all one-way traffic to start this match. And it's, well, if you're a Knights fan, you'd be loving this, and you'd be loving that penalty as well. All offside the Jets. They just can't take a trick.
No, they can't. Obviously, when they get the ball, they make an error, and when they don't have the ball, they give an easy field position away to the Knights, and the Knights could have their 5th here, Corey. God, they couldn't score a point against the Jets early in the season. Now they've got 4 in the first 20 minutes.
They have found their attacking mojo as Martin goes wide, and he finds Morris, who finds a bullocking...
that was Chalker.
Chalker there. So Chalker's 22 metres out where he'll play it as they go open side there. And it's Pull going to Clark. And Clark, he's really wound up with some venoms and some vigour in this game. 15 metres out, 20 minutes gone, a quarter gone, 24-0. They've got the quarter of a century almost. As Pull goes out the back to Vizzola, who goes short. And Angel was wrapped up, but he looks to get the offload away. He can't, and he looks like he's lost it.
That was nearly not the right option. Obviously, you love hitting Tommy Angel on that cutback, but they were lining up. You had Dill Morris, you had Ford, you had Kilmore, all lining up to the left, and I think they probably could have gone to the back line there and could have got some points on the left edge again.
Oh, jeez, they needed that, the Jets. They needed that.
They did something to stem the flow, didn't they?
They did, and now they need a big set, and they need no errors.
Oh, they can't afford an error working out of their own end here, and they really need to get to the kick and force the maybe an error from the Knights. So they need to be next to score. End of story.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
They can't afford to be down more than 4 converted tries.
So Coulter now with the football. Can he spark something? He certainly on his day can provide that X factor for the Jets, but unfortunately he's going the wrong way because the defence drives him back there, and now it's Kershaw bumping away, and he gets out of the red zone for the Jets. They trail by 24, would you believe? We've had 21 minutes gone as they pepper the eastern side of the field, the Jets. They're 19 metres away from halfway where they'll finally play the football, although albeit slowly. Bodies tangled up in there, and the ball turned on the inside there to Power Farrell. And Power Farrell, who's been a pillar of strength in that forward pack for the Jets. Can he inspire them? They're 9 short of halfway, and that one goes to the boot of Connors. And Connors just outside the 40, and he finds touch importantly, and that will give them a chance to reset.
Well, I think it's probably their best of the 6 to date. You think, got to the kick, found touch, and now they get to set their defensive line, and Kiama's got some pressure to work it out of their own end. And realistically, Kiama's just had piggyback. Do you think the last couple of sets they've either had a penalty or easy field position? Now they've got a chance to really put the Knights under the microscope, don't they, the Jets?
And they certainly need to do that. 18 minutes left until half-time. And it's become slightly overcast. There was maybe a hint of maybe some rain this afternoon or maybe tonight. It looks like nothing really threatening at the moment, and it's a dry track, and 24-0 would certainly indicate that.
Are you a weatherman as well, Corey?
Jack of all trades, master of none, let me tell you that. But weather is not one of them. As now the Kiama Knights shifted on the left edge, and it's Ford who came across and was met there by Adler, who needed to make that tackle. So now they go forward through Kilmore, and Kilmore's wrapped up there, and they're up to halfway, and it's only taken a couple of tackles. So they were looking to really hem the Knights back in their own half, and they haven't been able to do that, as the Knights now 38 metres out, and they're sniffing maybe some more blood here. Vizzola, short side. Angel throwing out there to Kilmore, who puts it on the boot, looking to regather, but there was Adler. That was good positional play. The Jets will start their set. Fousen looking to get away from the markers, and he's roped in by Vizzola, but he was all offside. The whole defensive line, and that's a much-needed penalty.
Well, they needed that, don't they, the Jets? Now they get a stronger field position. They'll probably get a kick down here, and Ryan James has found touch, and the Jets hopefully can just start to build some momentum. Obviously, they are very lackluster start, but really try to work their way into match. They don't have to score points very quickly, but they've got over 60 minutes to work their way back into the game now.
So Ryan James takes the tap, hit and spin, and almost a one-on-one strip. That certainly was the intention from Tom Angel, but he couldn't pull it off. Now they go up to halfway, and I think that was, having a look there, it was Rowan perhaps. And now Quinlan goes to the open side. Farrell finds Connors. Connors throws the big dummy and looking to get the offload away. He does get the offload away. Chance here now, a real chance now is Wellington. Plays it 30 metres out. They got numbers to the short side, but they go open instead. That's where Dylan Farrell's waiting, and he gets the ball on his outside. And that will be Harris Davis, I think, was it, or Connors? It was Connors, in fact, as they go short side. And Farrell now doesn't like what he sees, so he goes open. And the defence comes in and they wrap him up. It's Chalker, but they're all peeling off. They're falling off. He still is marching towards the try line. He's only 9 metres short. That's the 5th as they go to the left. And it's Connors who throws the cutout ball. But on the bounce there, it goes to Harris Davis. He goes back infield. He'll be caught on the last if he doesn't get the offload away. And that'll be the changeover.
That's a bit of a lacklustre end to the set. Obviously, it hurts having Dill tackled on the fourth tackle, because really he's your kicking option. You really want him to be the one creating on that last tackle, and he was caught up, and Buster tried to do something with the cutout pass, and Harris Davis didn't have much room to work with then.
They just needed a repeat set. They needed someone.
Build some pressure.
And on that occasion, it should have been Connors to really just roll that in the in goals. There was nothing on. The Knights had numbered up. Just roll it in, get the repeat set, build the pressure. As now Ford again with some open space out on the left and having to put on the brakes, and he's back slammed there. Oh, that's Kilmore who ran into the wrong bloke in Ryan James. You wouldn't want to run into him on a dark night as Vizzola sees the fullback up in the line. He looks it to roll into the in-goal. Says, he's made an absolute meal of it. That'll be a double knock-on. The Knights will get the ball, though, you'd think.
I would have thought, yeah, unfortunately, it was a terrible bounce there for Ardler. It bounced over his head and attempting to pick it up. I think the Knights have knocked it on, but, yeah.
He was a little bit casual, a bit nonchalant, though,
Yeah,
wasn't
he was. But, yeah, Drury's obviously signalling for a Knights feed here. And if the Knights score here, fair income. You put the Q in the rack already.
Yep. Absolutely. I can't see 30-0. I can't see the Jets scoring 6 tries to win this game.
No, and I know they came back to win from 28-4 down last year. But the way that the Jets have played in this first, 26 minutes has been unreminiscent of really the side we watched last week. Like, it's chalk and cheese, isn't it?
It really is. So Clark rumbling forward. Martin waiting. Open side to a Vizzola who's standing there. Atkins now. He puts on the brakes and he'll take the tackle only 5 metres out. So they're asking some questions.
The Knights have just made their first sub. Tasman Gilmore's come on for Tyler Clark.
So Poole will play it 5 metres out, centre of the park, 13 minutes left in this first half. The Knights looking for try number 5. Vizzola cut out pass to Angel. He's got one already this afternoon. But at close quarters, the Jets defence were there to meet him this time. Dylan Farrell in there. 5th and last as Martin goes back to Vizzola. Vizzola rolls it into the in-goals looking for the bounce, but he's got the next best results.
Fantastic, but really well read there by Buster Connors. Obviously, he's played at the back as well in the past and read that really well and shut down that, obviously, attacking opportunity by the Knights. But like you said, the second best outcome apart from a try and to get a repeat set and keep the ball down here. And they're in we're looking for their 5th try. So, great result. And the Jets have just got to hold on, don't they? Just got to hold on and just not concede another try.
Well, it was just chalk and cheese. We saw the Jets with a similar opportunity, a set attacking the Knights goal line. They decide to throw it. Kiama get the same opportunity, and it's the cool, calm head of Cameron Vizzola. He gets the repeat set, and the Knights will start their set 30 metres out, and now Chalker rumbling forward. Haven't they got some good purchase from this front row? And now it'll be there in the 16 jersey.
Tasman Gilmore's just come on for Tyler Clark.
Gilmore to play it as they go to the left with Martin. Martin shows it on the inside and gives it away to Ford, and it's going to be an obstruction penalty. The Jets get out of jail. You
mentioned before about the difference between the two sides rolling it in, obviously throwing out at wide. I think it shows the importance of having a classy 7. Like, obviously, Dill Farrell's a great ball player, but
I think Dylan Farrell is best when he is ball running and he's taken to line asking questions. He needs that foil outside or inside him to really be pulling the strings, kicking duties, short kicking game. I think Dylan Farrell's at his best when he is running the football, but he needs that kicker. And I think
he's not a natural 7. Sorry, just to cut you off, but he's not a natural 7. Whereas he's fantastic at 7, but like you said, he's either better at.
He's a great 6.
Great 6,
or a ball running lock.
Correct, absolutely, or any of those forwards. But Canvasola, he just looks like he glides across the ground in that 7 jersey, and arguably one of the best. And you think that with the combination of his speed, ability to pass and kick, like he's just fantastic. And
here's Farrell getting the offload away, and Connors thought he maybe spotted a gap, but he's brought down 31 metres out. Well, you can never look away when Farrell's got the ball. Here he is again, and Connors, can he get the ball away on this occasion? No, he can't, but he's only 15 metres away. The Jets looking for their first points of the afternoon. Farrell going short.
And that's Danny Deeves, who just come on for his brother. Nathan Deeves has gone off.
And coming back from injury as well.
Groin injury. He hasn't played since mid-round 1. So he's probably missed more than half a dozen games now. So he's come back from the groin. Obviously came back to reserve grade up at Robertson. And now he's back in first grade. And he's a big in. Once he gets going, he's a hugely dynamic forward for that side.
Maybe the spark they need.
They need something.
It's now Kilmore. He loses the ball out the back. It's going to be a penalty, though. Another strip. Another 2-on-1.
How many has that been? 3 or 4? They've just been like hand on the ruck. And now the Knights get a piggyback, kick it downfield, and then all of a sudden they're attacking again on the Jets line.
Well, it's something they obviously practice and they want to do, the Jets, but we saw them penalised on many occasions against Warilla last week. doing the same. It really is a game of roulette when you play the strip card. But
Isn't
anyway.
it? It was high risk, high reward, and today it has not paid off for the Jets at all. I think that is third or fourth time they've been penalised against the Knights coming out of their own end, and it just puts himself under so much pressure, doesn't it?
So Ford steps around a rushing up Farrell, and he'll play it 35 metres out. Geez, the Knights, they're in total control with 9 minutes left until the break. Chalker, who's playing some big minutes in this first half. We've seen Tyler Clark go to the bench, but he continues his shift. And now they'll play it 20 metres out with options left and right. And it's Martin who gets out and goes to the right for Zola's out there. Why not go to him? Atkins going further afield to Delaney, who's running out of room. And he'll play it 15 metres out. This is the last for the Knights. They'll be looking for another repeat set or an attacking kick. And now it's Vizzola there. Vizzola taking it to the line. Standing in the tackle, offloading. They go back to the short side. The hands out to Delaney. Delaney puts the kick in. But the play breaks down. It'll be a changeover.
That sort of fizzled out as well. But, yeah, the Jets are just hanging on there. I think they sort of know. If they can see one more, it's all over Red Rover. And if the Jets can snag one just before half-time, it gives them a bit of a sniff, doesn't it?
It does. And again, it gives them that real lift as well. And it's amazing what tries either side of halftime can do to the complexion of a game. So
and Dill will be able to feed off that at halftime, saying, "Boys, we've got the last try. Let's get that first one after halftime." And all of a sudden, you're only down by 2 converted tries, and that's nothing in today's game.
It really isn't. It really isn't.
Here we go. Is this the chance?
Well, a penalty for offside will certainly help their cause, and a good Dylan Farrell touch finder here will certainly be... Oh! He hasn't even found touch, has he? He has somehow. It bounces into touch in between the Knights defenders.
Anyway, you'll take it.
Oh.
You have a heart attack there, Hammer.
I think you aged 20 years watching this side. They could be brilliant, but boy, oh boy, they could come up with some howlers.
Boy, oh boy, wowee.
So... we continue here with Power Farrell, who just measures the defence, see who he's going to pick out, and he picks out in the middle there, Kieran Poole, and he's brought down 20 metres out centre of the park. Farrell out there to Dan Deeves, and Deeves is brought down in his comeback game 10 metres out. Quinlan waiting at dummy half, shorter and flat as Farrell. Farrell looking for the offload. Quinlan was backing up. He could sense it was coming. James, he's lost the ball. You don't see that too often from Ryan James.
Just coughed it up. I think he took his eye off the ball and looked at the line, and it's just bundled out, hasn't it? And lets the Knights off the hook there, and now they're working out their own end. But like you said, very uncharacteristic error by Ryan James. You don't see that too often.
It's just not his day.
Well, it's just not their day, to be fair. Not just Ryan James, the whole Jets side. Like, it wouldn't be too many halves of football this year. Obviously, the Jamboree game, that they've gone a half without scoring any points. Like, this team has mega loads of points in it. And another one. Another penalty working out of their own end.
High shot this time. Between the high shots and the strips, it's been a diabolical half in terms of discipline for the Jets. And they have 6 minutes to try and survive down 24-0 here.
Well, that's what we've spoken every time we do the telecast. The Achilles heel of the Jets is their discipline and ball handling. And ball handling's not been great, but their discipline on defence has been atrocious. And that's like what you said, I reckon 5 or 6 penalties against them working out their own.
And it's hard to argue with those penalties as well from what you see.
No, there's no arguments, I don't think. I think they're all very well justified. And especially like the high shots, you can't argue with them. No. Like the guy's got no head left, so fair income. So yes.
Now they are hot on attack and really looking for the knockout blow before half-time as Angel takes it 25 metres out. Some of your best there, Courtney Ward.
And you're still giggling.
Now Martin going to Chalker. And Chalker running around like he was a half and throwing an unneeded pass out wide. They had tackles up the sleeve. That wasn't the play from the front rower. Who thought he was perhaps maybe a centre for a moment there.
You always have a soft spot for the props who loved a bit of ball play. And Matty Morris was there. He just didn't to catch the ball, but hit with some pace. And if he caught that, he's probably through and score a try. But you don't mind that from Luke Chalker. I'd obviously said you just play it smart, get through the tackles, but the option's there, and that's how they've got into the position. 24 up by playing that sort of football. So I back him. And oh my God,
James has lost it. That's out the back, and Kilmore comes up with it for the Knights. And Dees isn't happy. He throws him back to the ground as if he was in the WWE. And now Poole going across wide, and now they look to probe up the middle and try and find another chink in this Jets armour that really hasn't.
Surely
well, I mean, that's asking for a penalty, isn't it? They are allowed to play on this occasion as Chalker. This time he tucks it under the wing. No thoughts of passing on this occasion as the Knights. They play it 31 metres out. Vizzola open side. He looked to his inside, goes out. And the step from Morris. Straight through. Too much speed. Oh, what a try from Dylan Morris. The Knights with their 5th of the afternoon. Try number 12 for the season for Dylan Morris. And Courtney Ward, is that the knockout blow?
Oh, I think so. I think it was probably already put the cue on the rack kind of time anyway, and that's just too easy again. Like, Dylan Morris at pace, and if you give him that much room, I don't think there's anyone that can sort of catch him. He's electric, and yeah, and that hurts. 3 minutes for half time, like, they're going to be down the Jets 30-0 at half time, like, fair income. Like, what do you say if you're Dill Farrell, what are you saying in the sheds? Firstly, you've got to say, we can't afford to be giving away those stupid penalties.
Absolutely. Well, they could have been penalised twice in that set. They were lucky that they didn't, but they didn't make their tackles anyway, so it was inconsequential. But absolutely, piggybacks.
Well, they could have. Danny Dees probably should have been penalised, and Buster Connors most definitely for the push on the play of the ball there. So they got away with 2 there. So, like you said, they don't need that niggle in there. Just play footy and just get back to completing the sets and just defending the line. And that's too easy, though. Dill Morris is slicing through the line, and like you said, their line speed and hit and stick. He just bounced off there, didn't he?
And the thing is, they have been forced to do so much defending by the penalties they've given away that they are getting tired in the middle. And that was just Dylan Morris going, thank you very much, picking up a lazy defender on the inside, and Cameron Vizzola looking to continue his perfect afternoon with the boot boy. Hasn't he been impressive in this game? And this one, well, it's much easier than some of the ones he's piloted over the posts this afternoon. He's about 15 metres out and 20 metres in from the northwestern touchline here on a slightly overcast Kiama day, and it's pretty grey as far as the Jets are concerned.
Vizzola, that's a good one for you.
Vizzola moving in, he strikes it, it's 5 from 5, and with 2 minutes left until the break, it's 30-0, Courtney Ward.
Yeah, I don't know what else we can say about the Jets, but realistically, let's concentrate on the Knights a bit. They've been fantastic. Vizola's been great. He's been the orchestrator. Both sides, he's been fantastic. I like how we've talked about obviously the Atkins and Dill Morris, the interchange between 1 and 6, and they've been chiming in when they need to.
And it's worked.
It's worked fantastically.
It's given them some variety.
Yeah, because they're like, we know Dill Morris is like to run it, and so does Atkins, but they're popping up either side of the ruck, aren't they?
And that's the way you keep players happy as well. If they both want to play the same position, well, hey, why not play a bit of both? A bit of fullback, bit of 5'8". I'm not sure whether that comes into the thinking that they both want to play 6 or they both want to play 1, but why not interchange them?
Well, I think they're both probably natural ones. But realistically, like we said earlier, in today's game, 1 and 6 is not too different, especially when you've got a dominant half like Vizzola. You realistically can afford to have pretty much 2 fullbacks in your side. You just got to make sure one's at the back and then one's running off. And as you can see right now, Dill Morris is probably back in the 1 jersey now, and here go the Knights.
Angel to Ford, who puts it on the boot. And again, Adler not getting the bounce, and he's made a meal of it. That should be a knock on. That'll be the Knights' ball. But they won't have time to pack the scrum as the siren just about to go. There it is.
The Jets are lucky there. Like, PJ Hardley, he played fantastically last week, but on 2 occasions, he's probably been a little too cruisy trying to get the ball, and he's not coughed it up both times. But what's Matt Clark saying to his boys at the break? More of the same?
More of the same. There's not much you can say other than stick to what's been working. I know that 30-0, there'll be that temptation to start throwing it round and playing that razzle-dazzle football, but they've just got to stick to their structure and they will run up a big score. But at the moment, it is the Knights all over the Jets in this penultimate round Group 7 match on Bar TV. It is the match of the round, and Kiama lead it by 30 points to 0. A break, and back with all the second half action. at the beautiful Kiama Showground for the penultimate round of the Group 7 season. Finals are nearing, and this one has a big bearing on the top 5. Kiama, well, you'd have to say they are in the box seat to not only secure a final spot, but really put pressure on the top 3 going into the final round. They lead 30 points to nil over the Nowra Bomaderry Jets. Corey Hammond in commentary with Courtney Ward this afternoon. Courtney, what do you think Dylan Farrell's message was at halftime?
Oh, as we said in the end of the telecast for the first half, I just think you've just got to be more disciplined. No silly penalties when the Knights are trying to work out of their own end, and I think they'd be a bit more creative when they're attacked, because realistically they've had 1 or 2 chances down there. One time Dylan Farrell kicked it dead, the other time Buster Connors flicked it out wide, and it was a bit of a lacklustre end to that set, so there should be more creativity. I'd like to see Joshy Coulter probably move into that 6, Buster Connors go back out to the centre. But it'll be interesting what they do. I think, more playmaking and more attacking weapons. Obviously, you can see they're missing Jake Gould at the back. Tyson Simpson's not there, but I don't think those 2 missing is a 30-point difference. Would you agree?
I 100% agree with you. They certainly need to turn things around. There was too many penalties for strips in that first half. They need to not look for the easy turnover and do it with their defence, and they'll get their first chance right here. Deep kick-off, almost over the dead ball line on the full, but it's taken. And now the Kiama Knights will start proceedings in the second half with the football, and they'll no doubt be looking to add to the 5 tries they scored in the first half, but I'm sure also it's about keeping the Jets to nil if possible, and certainly not letting them back into the game. And now they will work it out, and they're over the 20. So we see maybe a bit of rain out to sea there. Will we see some rain in the second half? Well, that remains to be seen. It's been a dry track this afternoon. 5 tries, as we mentioned, to Kiama in that first half. Now the ball back to Cameron Vizzola, who was outstanding as that ball just sits up in the breeze, and Falzon takes it, bumps away from one. And they'll start their set in good territory here, will the Jets?
Oh, huge opportunity here, but you mentioned Vizzola, I reckon easily hands down the best player in the first half. He's been instrumental, floating both sides, creating chances. He really straightens up the defensive line, but they had to really be honest there, and someone's down.
I think it's Deves. Is it, or is it Ardler? It might be
No, it's not Deves. Deves is standing at the back there.
It might be Ardler. I think it is.
Go back to Vizzola. He really straightens you up defensively, and because of his speed and his ability to create something out of nothing, the defence has to be honest. And then he can straighten you up with a pass either side, and he's just been fantastic. It's just a bit ball on a string, hasn't he?
Well, because he has been running the ball straight, he's really held up those defenders, and when they have been shifting, they've found space out wide because that defence has been held up by Vizzola's presence, and it'll be interesting to see whether he has a similar impact in this second half, but it's the Jets who'll get the first real attacking opportunity of the half through Rowan, who's back on the park there for the Jets in the middle. And so balking there before passing to Farrell, who finds Wellington in the 11 jersey, and he's driven towards the western touchline, but he stands in the tackle. And now it's back to the centre through Kershaw, and Kershaw goes to power Farrell, who gives the ball some altitude, and Morris is under it, and he takes it well after scoring that individual try of some brilliance in the first half. He comes up with a big play there, but time off. He's hurt himself.
No, I think Ryan James is down, trying to do a big hit on Dill Morris, and Dill Morris took that very casually, and obviously had Stixie and Ryan James flying through to try and put some pressure on him, and Ryan James is down. I think you'll find that actually collectively with each other, Power Farrell and James have collided with each other. Power Farrell looks like he's got a bit of a sore head there, and Ryan James is down, but if they lose Ryan James, he is instrumental to their side. I think they're no chance if he goes off, but I think he'll be right.
Their strike. He's their strike out wide. Well, the stats don't lie. I mean, 11 tries this season.
He's their X factor. Obviously, we talk about the heartbeat of the side is still Farrell, but geez, Ryan James not being in the side, it would be a massive dent to the Jets side. And
so he's going to hobble back into the line. So I suspect maybe he might have hurt his knee there, and I wonder if the Knights will now test his edge and really give that knee a bit of a workout. But
it looks like Kieran Poole's come off. He's got his shoe off and he's going to the sheds. So, bit of a change there for the Knights. It looks like Matt Gladman has gone on for him. And yeah, he's got one shoe off and going to the sheds.
Not good signs as Gladman, the man you speak of, who's on the field, plays the ball. And Martin had a look up, didn't like what he saw out to his left, so he says, I'm going to take this one, fellas, and he'll play it just short of halfway on the last tackle. And the ground bathed in sunshine. And that kick rolling down. Confusion between the back two there, and it's a knock-on or an accidental offside. Take your pick. Adler and Harris Davis.
Surely just communication there, and realistically, I think Adler's, as the fullback, you just take charge and say, I'm getting this ball, I'm just going to go. And one of them got to take it, but then now that is the third error by Adler at the back this game through the first 43 minutes.
Wouldn't be surprised if he's hooked or at least switched up from that fullback position.
Who do you put back there then?
Well, they need to try something because at the moment Adler is not having a happy day at the back, and they are targeting him as that ball is fed. Vizzola to Morris. He turns it on the inside. Knights looking for their sixth try, and they come oh so close on that occasion. Martin, he throws the 360 dummy and almost goes over. Slow play the ball. Out to Vizzola, who turns it on the inside to Gladman. And Gladman wrapped up in a tackle this time. It was Quinlan in there to affect it. Slow play the ball again. Martin, Vizzola turning it on the inside. And Nobes gets a flick pass out the back to Atkins, who finds Morris. Morris cut out pass there, and now they're looking to go through Ford, and Ford throws it out the back. The ball's into touch, and the play breaks down. The Jets, well, that's better at least goal line defence.
You haven't seen that from the Jets today, have you? And Ryan James obviously did a great ball and all tackle on his opposite number, Ethan Ford. Ford probably had the better of James in the first half, and we probably identify that one of the key matchups. You think they're two of the best centers going around right now, and Ford had the better of him in the first half, and I think James really wants to, if he can get on top of Ford there, obviously lays a platform for the rest of the side to really go with him. He's like, I'll go, come with me.
Nobes down on the western side of the park there for Kiama as time off is called, and you talk about Ethan Ford, Gerringong product, rugby union, convert as well. The big weekend for the Fords, obviously Jackson Ford. Another Gerringong name there, another Ford, the brother of obviously Nathan Ford, making his NRL debut. Big moment for the Ford family.
Oh, absolutely. And he adds to the list of Gerringong products who have played in the NRL or currently playing in NRL. Obviously, you got all the Sims boys, Ruben Garrick, Jack Murchie.
It's an incredible strike rate.
It isn't. Like you talk about, obviously Group 7 is a great production line, and Gerringong's a huge part of that. Obviously, you got Rod Wishart. You think Sean Timmins, the Morris boys spent time there as well. Obviously, Mick Cronin. Like, list goes on.
Unbelievable.
Like, there's more we haven't even mentioned, so it's a great production line.
Can you imagine the Lions team of the century? They probably already named one, but you could add some more names to that list now. It's quite incredible.
Well, you think if Ruben Garrick's had a fantastic season for Manly, and
another lost ball by the Jets.
I think it's Harris Davis. He's dropped it, and yeah, a great opportunity here for the Knights to score their sixth, and it's just not the Jets' day, is it?
It really isn't. It really isn't the Jets' day. Jets' day, and I'll tell you what, if you're a Jets fan, you're probably thinking about packing up and heading back down the M1 because it's looking grim. 30 points to 0. 6 minutes gone in the second half, and Morris again drifting across field and picking up his winger this time, and it'll be Kilmore to play at 11 metres out. Tackle one for the Knights as they really look to put this one beyond doubt, if there was any already. Chalker, he makes a couple of metres where he'll play it. Martin skipping out of dummy half, and Martin, he can't find a way through. But they're looking likely, the Knights. The Jets have repelled them already once this half. Can they do it again? Vizzola, Atkins turning it on the inside. Delaney can't get away from the tackle there. Connors was in there and he had some help as well coming across. It was, I think there, Farrell might have been. But anyway, play goes on. 5 metres out. Last play here for the Knights as they go open side to Vizzola. Why not? He rolls it into the in goal looking for the bounce. But there is Dylan Farrell trying to get back into the field of play, but he can't. And it'll be a repeat set for the Knights.
He read that really well. He did a fantastic job to nearly got back in there despite 4 guys hanging off him. And Tommy Angel wasn't far off grabbing a double there. But a very smart kick. And we've talked about the difference of the execution at the end of a set between the Knights and the Jets. Cam Fasola just puts the icing on the cake more often than not on a set, like a little grubber through, and the second best result. Obviously, didn't get the try, but you get a repeat set and put more pressure on the Jets, and time is against the Jets. They've got to score, what? They've 30 points in 33 minutes. And they can probably, they can score points in a hurry, and they've gone for the short kickoff here, and they might get it.
They're going for the gamble, but it's well done there by Delaney. He picks up the ball. That was batted back by Gladman, I think it was, and now they'll start their set just 20 metres out, and they're on the front foot here, and they're charging. And now it's Tasman Gilmore to play it. He's only 10 metres out. Martin showing and going, giving it to Fasola. Atkins bounces away from a no-arms tackle. I wonder if we'll see more from that. Atkins, though, he's dancing round looking for a way through. The Jets are waiting for him, and they finally make the tackle. No penalty forthcoming there. I thought maybe a shoulder charge penalty, but anyway, the Knights, they regather, they reset back to Fasola. He goes further afield to Nobes. Nobes, he looked to his outside. He couldn't get the head of steam up, so he was easy picking for the Jets' defence. He loses the ball as well. The Jets hang on again.
I think you probably find the last 8 minutes, there's probably something that Dill said at half-time. The physicality on their defence, obviously we talked about, they weren't hitting and sticking. They're making sure now, the Jets, if they get a tackle, they're making sure the Knights feel it. Like, they just want to, I don't know if they're trying to bash them, as you've seen by the Colts, a bit of a shoulder charge there, and Buster hitting late there as well in a tackle, but they're really trying to be more physical and assert their authority a bit and try and build off their defence into the attack.
Well, certainly the way they're defending, they feel they're not out of this one, but they just need to stop making errors, and they get a piggyback penalty, which will help.
And Tyler Clark, look, he's coming on, and it looks like Toby knows that injury can't go on, it looks like. And it looks like he might be heading straight for the sheds. No. Yep.
Oh, no. Would you believe? It's a knock-on, though. That'll be a Jets ball, but again, not finding touch. I think that was Coulter that time.
It was Coulter, and very lucky that they got knocked on. And as you can see, Toby Nobes has left the field and is going straight for the sheds, which is obviously not a good sign for the Knights. It looks like his shoulder, would you say? He's definitely favouring that right arm.
So the Knights down to 2 on the bench.
Yeah, obviously, Kieran Poole, I think, looks like he's back on the bench, but it'll be interesting to see if we actually see any more action, because they're obviously up by 30. We don't want to risk your captain.
No, absolutely not. It will be a very interesting half an hour, but if the Jets can rattle off some tries, then maybe they will have to call on the reinforcements as Kershaw over halfway with that bullocking run. And they go back to the middle with Wellington. He'll play at 35 metres out. 10 minutes gone. No points in the second half. It's still Kiama 30, the Jets 0. And now they're looking to change this with Deeves, who gets the ball from Farrell, and he'll play it 25 out on the eastern side of the Kiama showground as they work it back towards the western side. Farrell, and it's almost standing start stuff. Nothing that's really going to trouble the Knights' defence at the moment, but some good post-contact metres there, and the Knights will play it. In fact, it's the Jets that'll play that power. Farrell, a run around there, an offload as well out there to Harris Davis, who was waiting for the ball, and he's held up a metre short, if that. Coulter at acting half. He throws the dummy, looking to do it himself, Coulter, but they read it. They saw it coming. The ball going out to Kershaw, who was offside. Well, I thought he was offside, but the Knights were deemed to be offside from that play the ball.
And we talk about the icing on the cake. Was a scoot by Josh Coulter the right option there? Probably not. I know they got the penalty now, and Buster's going to try and barge his way over here, but that's one of those chances where you really want to...
well, that might be a try, is it? No.
No. What's jury called here? He's called knock on Jets.
Well, I think Buster Collins is certainly arguing that the ball was stripped out in a try-scoring opportunity.
I would have thought so, and he was over the line, wasn't he?
Yeah, well, I think maybe Will Drury said that it was just a loose carry. I'd like to see the replay. We obviously don't have the benefit up here of the replay, but I'll certainly be going back over that one tonight with some interest, because that's a big play in the context, or a big call in the context of this game. 11 minutes gone in the second half. The Jets still scoreless.
You mentioned about the positional switch. You'll find Blake Harris-Davis looks like he's moved into the fullback now, and
had to happen.
Yeah, Adler's moved on to something. I thought maybe Joshy Coulter might move there, or try and get Joshy Coulter. He's one of those X factors you talk about.
So it was a Knights knock on. That is the call. So they'll reset, reload. Connors will feed the scrum. Another chance for the Jets. Still scoreless. They were kept scoreless a fortnight ago against Jamboree. They'll hope to not suffer the same fate today as Harris Davis. In that fullback role, as Courtney Ward mentioned, he'll play it 9 metres out. Farrell to acting half. He switches to the short side where Deves looking to score in his comeback game. He's over the line, but he can't get the ball down. The Knights' defence standing up to the challenge at the moment.
Absolutely. How many times is that? 3 or 4 times in just the last couple of minutes alone. They've been held up over the line, and the Knights are really determined to not let the Jets score any points today.
But Power Farrell, let's see how determined he is to prove the Knights wrong. Quinlan throwing it to Kershaw. And the defence converges. He's opposite in there. Clark making the tackle and importantly wrapping the ball up. I thought Kershaw sniffed a chance as they go short side to Farrell. Farrell backing his way towards the line and he's just short. They'll look to go back to the open. James at first receiver. Connors look to his outside. Thought about the kick. Goes to Wellington. They've got the overlap. Wellington to Coulter. Coulter looking to crash over. And he does get the ball down. Does he finally?
I think so. Yep.
Try Josh Coulter. 13 minutes gone in the second half. The Jets finally have points. And where there's life, there's hope. Courtney Ward.
Oh, absolutely. I think you'll see on the replay if you watch it back at home. Connors made obviously the right play there. He looked like he was going to kick, but timed it perfectly, put Wellington into some space on the edge, and that created an overlap, and Wellington timed it perfectly and gave it to Coulter one-on-one, and you're not going to stop Josh Coulter from one-on-one that close to the line, and he did the rest and scored a try.
Well, does this change the complexion of the game?
Oh, absolutely. Like, there's one team that can score points in a hurry. But it's on Farrell's boot. Obviously, he needs to get in these conversions to make less work for the Jets. Otherwise, they're going to be uphill rest of the game, trying to get just enough points to get back in the game. But obviously, like you said, where there's life, there's hope.
Dylan Farrell wasting no time with this conversion, and it's on its way. It's over! Well, there's 2 points that are crucial, but they have 24 to make up. It's 30-6. 26 to play here at the Kiama Showground. It's the home side doing it at the moment on Old Boys Day, but I'm sure there's probably still a few nervous fans here after that try.
Absolutely. I think that the host would not want the Jets to score in the next 5 or so minutes, and another try would be nice for the host, and I think they could definitely put the cue in the rack there. Obviously, there's movement on the Knights bench as well. I think you'll find it is Cal Thistleway looks like he's going to be coming on, I think.
Oh! Fousen almost batting that into touch, but he gathers the ball. Sorry to cut you off. That's there, right, Courtney. So the Jets, a few nervous moments. Ryan James with the ball now. They haven't been good at completing this afternoon. Can they finally get through their set, get to a kick as Deves plays the ball 29 metres out? Well, the Jets have certainly made a statement that they aren't going to roll over and just give this one to the Knights. Now Farrell, cut out ball to Connors. Connors, he's got some space on the outside. He gives it to the try scorer, Coulter, who almost gets out of the tackle, throws the ball back. That's off the Knights. That'll be Jets ball again.
Yeah, Matt Morris tried to scoop it up, but obviously lost it there, and the Jets get another chance. Things have fallen their way in the second half a little bit, and the door is ever so slightly open. But the score here, anything can happen. And we know they can score points in a hurry. And tell you what, Josh Coulter looks like a different man this half, doesn't he? Bit unsighted in that first half, and now he's really come to life, especially with that try in the second half.
It's amazing what a 4-pointer can do to the confidence. Deves, as we see, he's had an impact in this second half with some determined charges in his return game from a groin injury. So short side now to Farrell, the Jets go, and he's got the arm free, gets it away to James. We've seen that often. He throws it over the head in hope more than anything because they ran out of room. What's the call here?
Jury's called...
Did it take a touch off a Knight?
No, I think he's called knock on Jets. I think it's Knights feed or Knights ball here. Oh.
Push and shove as well with Farrell and the Kiama contingent that are certainly trying to get under the skipper's skin. So it is the Knights with the loosen feed. This scrum to pack 20 metres out, well, make it 15 metres in from this eastern touchline. A cool Kiama day, but that wind has stayed down. Jeez, it's been cyclonic over the past 48 hours just about. And it certainly would knock the socks off the players if they were playing today. I know that obviously the Sharks and the Lions had to contend with that yesterday, so as did Jamboree and Berry. So much more favourable conditions today as the Knights, 19 from halfway, let off the hook by the Jets. And it is the bench now that are looking to do the job, and that's Tasman Gilmore, 10 short of halfway. To Tyler Clark, who loses the ball. I thought that was stripped out, but no. It's going to be a lost ball, but it'll be pulled up for a scrum. Or was it a one-on-one strip but a knock-on by the Jets?
Called in the attempted strip by Kershaw, they've called a knock-on there, so it will be a feed to the Knights. And yeah, another let off the hook there, obviously. Yeah,
so obviously they're happy enough that one of the tacklers dropped off, and like you mentioned, Kershaw, in the action of stripping the ball, had propelled it towards the northern end, which is, of course, the end that the Jets are running to in this second half. Is a little trick play. They go to the short side here off the scrum, do the Knights, and 43 metres out, they'll start their set in good real estate as they look to put this one to bed. Chalker over the game line, 32 metres out.
Another sub for Kiama. Looks like Ethan Ford has come to the bench and Cal Thistleway has come on in the left centre. I think you'll find
Gilmore now. 22 out for Zola. Taking it to the line and giving it to Clark. He was whacked off the ball. And Clark, he advances it to within 10 of the line. The Knights looking for their 6th try of the afternoon. Martin with a beautiful ball. He got the defence interested. And he had a man on the outside. And they go over for try number 6. 21 left, 34-6. Kick to come.
That was a bit too easy for the Knights there. Obviously, Dan Martin caught the markers napping, just straightened him up, and Taz Gilmore threw a gaping hole, score right next to the sticks, and that probably ends the Jets' hopes if they ever had any chances to get back in the game. And that's great play. But you talk about, obviously, Canvasola straightening up the opposition defence running at him. Dan Martin does a great job at squaring him up as well, don't you think?
He does. He does.
Really starts and then passes.
I think one of the advantages that the Knights have over, say, the Jets, for example, is they have a dummy half that's prepared to run it out, and then, like you said, just straighten up the defence and really ask questions. And then he's got ball runners on the outside that are running those hard A-lines, and we saw Tasman Gilmore there, the beneficiary. Straight over under the black dot, and now Vizzola, he'll throw this one over. It'll be 36-6 with a quarter left, and you'd have to say it's a long road back now for the Jets. They just haven't looked likely of stringing together back-to-back tries.
No, absolutely not. And had a bit of chances there to probably score some tries, but yeah, Kiama come back and sort of end any of those chances there. And Sola lands his 6th conversion from as many attempts this afternoon.
36-6, still time, and there's still a glimmer perhaps for the Jets, but the Knights, they'll be looking to really put the foot on the throat, particularly with finals coming up. They'll want to make a statement to their rivals, and not only that, ensure that they have a crack at a home final on week 1 and an all-important double chance.
Well, it just makes next Sunday's game between Gerringong and the Jets at the Nowra Showground even bigger, because you think if the Jets were to lose that and Arilla win, obviously today and next week, they can leapfrog them. And if Gerringong win that, they could obviously hold into 3rd. And because Kiama play Berry next week, Kiama could have, a couple of weeks ago, looked like they're going to miss it together. Now it looks like they could squeak into 3rd with the results going their way.
There's so many implications, permutations around this year's final series. One of the, I think, the best Group 7 seasons and closest on record. Try pick a premier. It's certainly not a runaway leader this year as Vizzola inside his 40, and it gets a nice leg break away there from Falzon, who was quite happy to just let that go into touch, and they'll get the scrum, the Jets, 25 metres out from their own line.
Oh, absolutely. Poor bounce for Falzon there, and yeah, the Jets just look, they're all just walking back. I think they're all they're shutting up shot. There's still 18 minutes to go, and I think the Knights will probably get 1 or 2 more tries here. I reckon they'll bring up the half century. 50 points for the 50th anniversary.
Big call, and well, look, certainly I'm not willing to bet against it. I'm still
You're a betting man,
but you just never know with the Jets, because we could see it. It could be 36-18. It could be 54-6. You just don't know what you're going to get at any point in time from the boys down south, as Ryan James stands in the tackle 19 metres from the halfway mark. As yet again, the Jets with the task of bringing it from their own end. Kershaw had the hands free. Thought of maybe passing to Josh Calder on his outside, but he takes the tackle. And now Quinlan back to the open side, and they rumble forward again. This is better. They get the penalty as well, so they'll get an attacking set. Wellington creating the penalty there.
That was a fantastic run by Wellington. Put him on the front foot, and I guess they're really going to start scoring points, and this is not going to get a better opportunity than this, are they?
And there was a bit more conviction with that kick from Buster Collins. It's been a dreadful afternoon for the Jets in terms of kicking for touches. Power Farrell and Connors, I should say. And now Power Farrell.
In your head, isn't it?
It is. Apologies to Buster. And now Power Farrell. Those post-contact meters were big. Rowan now puts the big don't argue out, and he rumbles forward. He's only 3 metres out. Now Quinlan getting out from dummy half and giving it to Farrell, who throws the dummy again, backing his way towards the line. And importantly, the Knights wrapping up the football as they go back to the open side through Power Farrell. And again, they're just waiting. It's a little bit predictable at the moment from the Jets, but they've still got numbers left, numbers right. They go out back to Farrell, and he this time looks for the repeat set, and they finally get it. They've finally answered the prayers, and they get a repeat set of 6.
It just makes a difference when you actually put some icing on the great set of 6. Obviously, those picked up well by Brad Kilmore, but yeah, they get a repeat set. And look at the Jets now. They're running now. They can send some points. They're going to have to score quickly. But yeah, there's a great end to a set by the Jets, and Jill Farrell was great then. 16
minutes left to go. We finally see them force a repeat set instead of going for the glory play, and look what happens. They get that second bite at the cherry here. Rowan carting the ball back, and he's met by the Knights' defence, 32 metres out, centre of the park. The sunshine once again greets us here at the showground. Kershaw with the ball, 25 metres out. Time running out for the Jets as they look to try and sew up a final spot. The Knights looking to do the same. That's a much better run. Much better from the Jets. They're on the front foot. Calder looking for a double. He gets away from one. Calder now getting an offload away as they look to barge their way over. They've lost it and trying to ground it. And the Knights, well, I think that will just about seal it for them.
I think Elliot Stewart, in his first touch of the game, looks like he's going to have to score with Benny Wellington going to the bench. And in attempting to score the try and reach out, he's lost the ball. And was it needed? They still had plays up their sleeve. Joshy Calder looked dangerous, and I think you take the tackle there and spread it to looking to the right. They're all waiting for the next play.
I've been looking for the word, or certainly the phrase to sum up the Jets, and it's they have a lack of patience.
Absolutely. They think every play they have to score now. They have to score. We have to score on this play. We have to score on this play right now. There's nothing about. You look at the great teams, or the other teams that are in the top 5. Obviously, Jamboree is all about. We're going to set this play up for the next play. Kiama's done it fantastically. Do you think a couple of guys they'll set up this play. They'll be like, oh, we've got to get to this spot. So then next time, your Vasolas or your Dan Martins can get in a position to create points. You don't have to score every single play. Gerringong's done it for years. Shell Harbour. So that's probably one thing that is lacking from the Jets game. Do you think that probably is on the back of no dominant half?
Look, it could well be. I think certainly Dylan Farrell needs a foil in the halves that is going to really create that stability in terms of being able to force the ball into the end goal and really not put all the pressure on him to come up with the big play.
You go, sorry.
I was just going to say, is the ball... we digress here as the play goes on. And look at that, Vazola finding turf again with that kick, and Fowlson had 4 of them. They're still driving him back. He's only 2 metres out, but look, they certainly have to work out that who is going to be that playmaker, that plays with Dylan Farrell.
Who could it be? Looking at the Jets lineup, is it Josh Calder? Or is it Buster Connors on the way he played last week? Or is it someone like a Jake Gould?
Well, I think that's part of the dilemma they have. I don't know if anyone's putting their hand up week to week, but I certainly would like to see Calder maybe getting closer to the action because he's looked good every time he's touched it. As now the ball gets out to the man we talk about, and he decides to go back infield. And he makes some good meters as well, 15-20. Breaks another tackle. Oh, Calder, he's got his confidence up, and could he be the man to spark them with 13 minutes left as they go now to the eastern side of the park, and that ball out at the back in hope, and James did well to hang on to the football, but they lose meters. It's the last tackle. And now it's back to Calder, who decides to go into first receiver. Probably not the option to run it, but he's trying something, and that ball onto the boot. And Morris is back there to field it. Morris, the big wicked step. There was no line there, and Morris makes a good 20 metres. And he's throwing down in the end.
Goal by Danny Dees, and here's his brother. He's in their pace, and
here we go.
Delaney, good luck catching him.
Delaney, he's got one this afternoon. He's got plenty of pace, but he's bundled into touch by the cover defence. What a chase it was. I think it was Connors coming across.
It was Jay Delaney. It was looking like he was going to shape for a kick-in board, but he just couldn't get the space all the time to do it. And great cover defence there by Buster Connors. And Jay Delaney's looked like he's hurt his knee a little bit, but I think he'll go on. And I'm pretty surprised they caught him because he has got absolute wheels there. And if that was one of the Morris boys out there, I reckon shut the gate.
Yeah.
Great. Where's that urgency for the Jets been all game? We haven't seen that all game, have we? Realistically, you had three guys who could have made that tackle, and realistically, that intensity has finally come to light with
it's
to
play. Well, it's taken a try with 20 to play to spring them into action.
That should be a play they have in the first 12 minutes, not the last 12.
And like you said, I mean, let's not take anything away from this night side. They have been clinical this afternoon. They have worked hard for each other, and they've been so organised in attack. And I think there's been any number of players that have put their hand up for man of the match honours this afternoon. Vizola, Morris, they've all been fantastic. The forwards have put their hand up as now the Jets rumble forward.
You mentioned those forwards. You think the platform laid by your Chalkers, your Clarks, and obviously Nobes is off the field as is Poole, but they were fantastic in the first half, and so was Ethan Ford. All those guys are having a break now, but the go forward from those workhorses was fantastic and really laid the platform in that first half, didn't it?
Connors looking up. It certainly did. And again, just the energy off the line. The Knights were there waiting for him. Fifth tackle. They go to the short side, and it's James with the ball. The offload away to Coulter, who kicks it up. Aerial. And it's taken, but dropped. It'll be a try to the Jets. It'll be a try to the Jets. And it was Danny Deeves.
It was Danny Deeves.
Johnny on the spot. 36-10 with 11 to go. Oh, again, they're just leaving the door ajar, ever so slightly, the Knights.
I think it's probably too little too late, but a great kick chase there by Danny Deeves and an error at the back there by the Knights. And obviously Danny Deeves, he said, on the spot there and gets a reward. He's been pretty strong since he's come on the field, especially on that right edge. A couple of offloads to Ryan James and gets a reward for the strong kick chase. But, yeah, just a bit of a fade there by the Knights. Probably should have diffused that bomb, and they didn't. Leads to points, but they've been, realistically, they've had very few errors today. They've been pretty clinical, haven't they?
You know, they've been super impressive. That's one of the few errors we've seen. Certainly the first error we've seen from the back three, and I know that the breeze isn't as much of a factor today, but the fact that the Jets really haven't been able to get to their fifth and put up a kick that has asked questions of the back three, like that one, that just beggars belief.
Well, I would definitely want to test, especially if they're going to be running Dill Morris at the fullback, because obviously he's quite short, and if you can test him with some high balls, especially with some big bodies like your Dill Farrell's, obviously your Danny Dees coming through, that puts pressure on him, especially because he's going to have to really try and jump high to defuse that. And Dill Farrell's come to the bench as well. Looks like they could all over Red Rover for the Jets.
Yeah, that's not a good sign to see Dylan Farrell on the bench. That means that Josh Coulter took over the kicking duties, and he put that one over to make it a 24-point ball game with 9 to go. But
And Reece Fagelin, he's the one that's come on for Dill Farrell on that right edge. So you probably think in the halves now, it's Coulter and Connors. You reckon?
Yeah, I think so. Well, we've seen, obviously, Coulter roaming around both sides of the field. That would indicate that. So let's see if he can spark them. He's only got 9 minutes to pull a rabbit out of the hat, so to speak, as the Jets, through Deves, play the ball. James at first receiver, Connors, and he goes further afield and back there. And I think it's Elliott Stewart in the 16 for the Jets, who will play it 29 metres out. Coulter skipping across field, looking to create something. Fowlson thought he copped a high one. Told to play on. Gets an offload back. They're throwing everything. They're throwing the kitchen sink at Kiama now. This is where we get to see a bit of Jets ball, and they get the penalty. So with 8 minutes left, they get a piggyback, and they're starting to drop off tackles, the Knights.
And where's this sort of intensity? Like, they're just throwing around a bit, the Jets, and a bit more direction. Like, in the first half, they've probably been guilty of going a bit too sideways, but they're a lot more direct now, which the Knights were for probably the first 60 minutes of the game. Obviously, the Knights have sort of lost their way a little bit now. I think they've sort of just been thinking about, let's just get this game done and get the 2 points. But, yeah, the Jets are finally come to life, but it's way too little too late, isn't it? Now, you think realistically. And I think a big part of that's been Josh Cohen. He's been fantastic in the second half.
Well, let's see if it is too little too late and whether that man Coulter can spark some sort of miracle. Connors throwing the ball to a big charging back there. It was Kershaw, and now there's going to be a try. Is there? No. Inches short. It was James with the ball. I thought he was over for all money. Open side it goes. Connors with a speculator. And it's Deves who loses the ball. And that's the ball game.
Yeah, great tackle there by Jay Delaney, and it was a bit of a speculative pass there, wasn't it? And they've called knock-on by the Knights, so the Jets get another chance.
Well, they do. That's an interesting decision. I didn't see where the Knights...
I think they must have called a knock-on.
Indiscretion was, but...
maybe going for the strip there, Jay Delaney. They've said knock-on, but it is the Jets' ball with 6 to play.
So not quite game over, but very close. So Coulter standing one off the scrum. A horrible pass. It's intercepted. This will be it. This will be good night. See you later. It'll be a try to the Knights. And in the 14, it's Cal Thistlethwaite. He hasn't been on the field long, but he runs the length and sends the Knights into the semi-finals.
And I think it probably speaks volumes. You can see all the Knights players are running up to congratulate Cal Thistlethwaite, and all the Jets boys are sort of just trotting back. And Joshy Coulter, the pass is sort of misdirection, bounces, and Cal Thistlethwaite pounces on it, runs 80 metres, and that pretty much epitomises the day for the Knights, doesn't it? Because really, they've been... since the get-go, hasn't it? They were running at a point a minute in the first half, and yeah, now they'll comfortable win for them.
Now it's turning attention to a final round game, which will decide their finals fate. You'd have to think with Warilla's draw, they need Nowra to lose to Gerringong. If Nowra win, then fate's in their own hands and they will finish 5th.
Well, the fate that was the luxury of beating Warilla last week. The Jets, the fate is in their own hands. They had to win one of these next two. Obviously, they're not going to win today, going down obviously to Kiama. But if they can beat Gerringong next week, they're in. Assuming that Warilla, obviously, they'll play Stingrays today. They play Park next week. If those go according to plan, but in saying that, Park beat Jamboree last week. So it's not a foregone conclusion that Warilla's going to get 2 wins. And obviously, Atkins and Chalker have come off now, and Ford's gone back on. So... but yes, the fate is in the Jets' hand, and I tell you what, the Jets will have to be a different team next week to beat Gerringong.
Vizola, 20 metres in from the eastern touchline, 19 metres out the southern end of the Kiama Showground for his 7th of the afternoon. He can't make it a successful conversion, and so the score remains 40-12 in favour of Kiama, and they've got the job done for Old Boys Day with 4 minutes left. It's a foregone conclusion, and certainly didn't live up to the billing that we thought it was going to live up to. We thought it was going to be not much in it.
No, and I think that's largely because the Knights sort of came up to play, and I think the Jets started really slow and blinked, and before they knew it, they were down 18 points after 15 minutes, and it was pretty much game over by then, hasn't it? They were running on a treadmill uphill from then on in and never really got into the game, did they?
They certainly didn't. Great take by Martin off the short kickoff. Will just give the Knights more ammunition to go up the paddock and try and make it try number 8 for this afternoon, and you wouldn't certainly bet against it from what you've seen. They have been super impressive with the ball in hand this afternoon. As Dowd on the field in the 15 jersey and the headgear, he plays at centre of the park. And now they go back out to Vizzola. Vizzola out there to Morris. And it's the try scorer, Thistlethwaite, looking for try number 2 after scoring the length of the field intercept to put this game well and truly beyond doubt. Still on here potentially, and they shift it back to the open side. And now it's Ford. Ford, who's had a good afternoon, or certainly did in the first half. He had a bit of a spell in the second. He comes back on to finish the game. 5th and last here, tangled up in the play the ball. Time off called momentarily as the Knights look to put the icing on the cake. Morris, he's got one this afternoon. Can he be the architect for another try?
Oh.
They've got there. That is magic.
Wow.
Fazzola. Well, how fitting that the architect has got his own piece of the pie. 46 points to 12 it will be after the conversion, you'd think. But, that was a diabolical leave.
Absolutely, and Dill Farrell's blowing up. I don't know if he's blowing up at the decision by Drury or the decision by his team to just let Vassola waltz on in and acrobatically place that down just inside the touchline. And you talk about no player deserving a try more than Vassola. He's been fantastic. Like, obviously, his kicking game, his passing game, his kicking has only missed the one kick all afternoon, and a well-deserved try and the icing on the cake for the Knights.
Really is.
That was an amazing try.
It was, and I had a pretty good vantage point through the binoculars there. I think he got there in time. I think that was a good call.
In mid-air?
Absolutely.
There's not many players in the competition that could do that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there would have been conjecture whether he got there in time, and I'm sure the tail of the tape will tell the story, but from my vantage point, looked good, and it was just acrobatic, like you said. It was brilliant work.
Drury was right on the spot there. He would have seen it. So, and you agree with him, so I don't think there's any arguments. And he celebrated like he got down, and Vasola's not one to go without scoring, thinking he's going to score. And here Vasola gets a chance to convert his own try. Looking back on the game, do you think Vasola is probably the man of the match? Is there any arguments?
No, certainly not from me, as he looks to make it 18 points for the afternoon. This will be the last passage of play, you'd think. 6 from 7 so far. He makes it 7 from 8. 18 points from Cameron Vizzola. He adds to his already impressive tally. He came into the game on 137 points. He goes to 155 as the Knights get the chocolates this afternoon. They will play semi-finals football in 2019. They've defeated the Jets 46 points to 12. Courtney Ward, your man of the match this afternoon.
As we just mentioned, I think it's Cam Vassola. Obviously, there's been great performance. I thought Luke Chalker did a great work in the engine room there. Tyler Clark was solid. Nobes was good in the first half. Obviously, you can see Kieran Poole's obviously got some ice on his ankle there, but he was really good in the first half as well. I actually thought Tommy Atkins was good. He slotted into the 6 as well. But I reckon probably Cam Vassola and Dan Martin's my second best, I think. I think he was fantastic. Probably got through about 40 or 50 tackles. Huge workload, and yeah, really great direction there. Obviously set up Tasman Gilmore for a try. You agree?
Yeah, look, I think without a doubt he pulled the strings, particularly in that first half. Maybe took more of a back seat in the second half and just guided the team through to victory. But I think that exclamation mark on the end there certainly sums up Cameron Vazzola's day and the Knights' day. They were certainly sensational. So let's have a look at the situation as it stands. Berry Shoalhaven, the Knights will take on in the last round. You'd think the Knights get the chocolates over the Magpies, which puts pressure on the top 3. They could potentially end up in that top 3 with that all-important double chance.
Oh, absolutely, and I think so much hinges on that game next Sunday at Nowra Showgrounds. Gerringong's playing for a top 3 spot. Jets are playing for a final spot. It's as simple as that. And if other results go according to plan, which we think they could, Kiama could leapfrog Gerringong if they don't win, and the Jets, if they don't win, could miss out altogether. And if you told us this time last week, we thought, Jets are in after that win at Arilla, but now it looks like they could miss out if they don't get the chocolates next week. Massive game.
Gerringong and the Jets, well, geez, they're falling into finals. And well, I tell you what, like you said, if Gerringong gets the chocolates next week, it's probably Warilla that's going to take fifth spot. If the Jets can win, well, then they fall in. And Gerringong, they'll play each other the week after. So that's an interesting way to look at it as well. Gerringong and the Jets play next week. And if the Jets win, it'll be likely those two sides playing again.
But it'll be obviously a different venue. It'll be up at Michael Cronin, you'd have to say. But
yeah,
I think it's just that is such a big game. The last day of the regular season, huge impact on what could happen.
Massive. And I dare say, I don't want to go off and be out of line here, but I wouldn't be surprised to see that being the match of the round next week, and I wouldn't be surprised if we're calling the Jets for a fourth week in a row.
I know, it's just the way it sort of worked out. The Jets have had a really tough and... they've played all the big teams the last couple of weeks, and we've obviously called 3 games in a row. It looks like we'll probably call them next Sunday because, as we said, that one game just changes the whole complexion of the finals. Obviously, there's other big games around next weekend, but I don't think there's any bigger than that.
Well, full time here. That's it. 46 points to 12. Kiama, too good for Nowra Bomaderry. Courtney Ward, thank you very much for your company this afternoon. Thank you for your company at home. Until next week, it's bye for now.